Good morning from the Doon Valley and the Valley of Words, Ishani.
Hello, welcome. So wonderful to see you.
We have Ishani. We have Ishani Lauren Naidu from the sunny city of Coimbatore.
Yes.
Ishani uh, is an Ayurveda health educator with a passion for sharing timeless sciences of Ayurveda, yoga, and Vedanta with children, teens, and adults. She feels joy in finding playful ways to bring soulful connection into the modern daily life through traditional Vedic teachings. Ishani immersed herself in the Vedic path and quest for her true self under her guru's guidance. Her study of source texts lasted for an uninterrupted period of 12 long years. She currently serves as a secondary teacher in various Vedic consciousness courses and programs. Ishani's passion and reverence for nature shines through in her book, The Song at the Heart of the River, her first children's book published last year by HarperCollins India. The blurb of her book reads, "Float with the river and giggle with the children who make paper boats. Wave to the animals making their homes along its banks, and greet the morning with Baba, who visits each day to sing a beautiful song about the sun." This beautiful, uh, gentle book with a profound story which is woven with classical themes of Ayurveda. Ishani, uh, you've chosen a very beautiful, magical title, Song at the Heart of the River. How did that come about? Well, this is while we get Ishani to connect with us. It's a beautiful book. Can we have the camera zooming into the cover? Yeah. It's a beautiful book with the story of the Sattva, Tamas, and Rajas gunas that we all know about, how Ishani has integrated that uh, to involve kids with various activities is makes this book really special. And the challenge is to work on it for children's book. The challenge is that you have to appeal to the heart and the mind of children, and yet it's the adults that get to choose the book, which is a double challenge. Okay, Ishani, we have you back. So what I was
Thank you.
saying is that you have uh, picked on a very, very beautiful, magical, musical title for your book. Could you tell us something about that?
Yes, absolutely. So I really feel that anytime we come into nature, anytime we connect with something bigger and more beautiful and more vast than ourselves, we feel that from that heart space, something beautiful kind of bubbles up, isn't it? And then in Ayurveda, in Vedanta, in the Indian tradition, there's also this recognition that the voice, that song, that chant, that singing out is a way that we can mindfully connect our body, our mind, our emotions, our thoughts, all with something bigger than ourselves. And so the song in this book is both that wonder we feel at the beauty of nature, but it's also that song that comes from inside of us when we look at something in awe, when we connect with something larger. So it's connecting both things.
Was it which river was it that inspired you to write about its, the music of that river?
Yeah, I think it was two rivers. One, I'm here in Coimbatore. There's this beautiful forested area called Siruvani, and there's a beautiful river that comes through here. And so, as I was looking at that, a lot of the imagery came from viewing that river. And I also feel very connected to this river in Ayodhya that runs, all through many places, but specifically in Ayodhya, in which is the Sarayu River. And so that river also has a lot of significance for me, connection with me. So both of them were quite inspiring.
And in your book, you have put together all these elements: the sun, the sky, the seasons, the river, of course. And you've somehow related it for children to appreciate. How did that evolve? How did this integration of all these elements come together for children?
Yeah. It's interesting that this science of Ayurveda is something we often think that doctors are doing or medicinal practitioners are doing, or kind of ancient tradition that is disconnected from maybe our day to day lives or something. But it's so deeply enmeshed with nature. So all of the understanding of Ayurveda, of our own body, of health, is all connected with these elements, connected with these rhythms. The day and the night, our sleeping and waking, all of that happens. And so that is a core part of Ayurveda. And when I started meeting children and talking to them about, can we connect with these different kinds of elements in our body? Can we connect with these rhythms we can observe in nature, these changes we can observe in our own being? You may be surprised, or maybe because of your exposure also to children, they understand it intuitively. Children have in no way forgotten that maybe I am made of some part of the river, and maybe I am made of some part of sunshine. And even if they don't have the words for that, or the vocabulary or concept rigidly in their mind, that permeability, that connection is always there. So bringing your connected both these wisdoms, which are a reminder as grown-ups that you're not disconnected from nature, you're not disconnected from the rhythms, but it was also the most intuitive way to connect children, because they already are so close to that. They couldn't understand that. So when I would meet them, talk to them about what foods can we eat, how can we sleep well, how can we wake up fresh, using these nature analogies was very intuitive and easy for them. And the story from there also. Yeah.
You've done a fantastic job of integrating all of this. Ishani, I'd like to ask you that the book spells out the joy that Baba, that one character that you've taken up, Baba derives joy in the gentle flowing of the river, and he worships the sun. So, how did you think of Baba as your main character, even though you had such huge, huge elements like the sky and the sun and the river and everything? Yet, Baba comes out as something that you can really learn a lot from.
Hmm. I love this question, Jyoti,
Yeah,
because uh, I think a lot of us, we are flowing, we are moving, we are going, we are enjoying. And sometimes along the way, we get a little forgetful. We can forget things. Most of us have someone to come in and remind us, about the good qualities within us, or give us some guidance along the way. So this character is showing that even as we are moving and growing and being in the world, we can also have people who come and guide us, come and help us. I also love this character of Baba because he reminds me of my own wisdom tradition, my own guide, my own guru, who does that for me also. And the reminder that I think Baba brings to us is that consistency inside of all the change and all the ups and all the downs and all the literal waves that come to us all the time. We can seek something that is steady, something that is pure, something that is illumined, something that is giving power, that is independent of all of that outside, that really comes from deep inside. So he, without saying, children, you are within, children, you have so much beauty coming from inside of you, and you have so much light coming from you. Without saying it, in that this character role models that. I feel that consistency and that inner connection and the joy in the small things. So that was a way to bring in a role modeling of what it can look like when we are not disappointed by what all is happening outside, but finding inside everything that we're looking for. Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
since this is your first ever attempt at writing and it got published, it surely must be a labor of love for you. So tell me, how long did it take for you to think of it, conceive it, and put it in print?
Yeah. I think it took maybe from the first time this story came out as a storytelling with children. It was first brought as just a storytelling for children. I actually, from then until when I had the book in my hand, it was maybe 2.5 years. And actually, what I wanted, I was working with a group of children in a school, and I was meant to be Ayurveda to them. And I was asking myself, how can I teach them about this idea of moderation? How can I teach them these certain subtle ideas and make it interactive? And so I asked for something. And so this story just kind of popped out on its own. And then in that process, found just the most wonderful illustrator, Kalyani Ganapati, who was able to absorb the essence of this story and then churn it and just brought it to a beautiful beautiful life with her images and the details that she's put inside, and so that we allowed that to take its own. So she, as an artist, had the luxury of time, really work with all the details. That was
Coming to
the
Kalyani Ganapati, and I think the sketches, the illustrations that she has done and brought this book to life is really, really amazing. The children that went through these books, if we could have just a second. These illustrations are so beautifully done. Uh, there's so much put into these two pages with so much of color and joy and delight that children relate to it so well. And this is just one of the pages. So tell me, how did your thoughts, come about with the drawings that Kalyani has brought to life? Look at
yes.
this.
Well, one key from the very very beginning, and you'll notice it as you look through. One key part was this story is a very universal story. It is not a story that has to take place inside of India. It is not a story that has to take place inside of one, because the truths it's talking about resonated in kinds of wisdom traditions and people everywhere. One core principle she and I, from the first moment, agreed on is that the illustrations should also um, reflect that universality. So you will see in these pictures there are animals, flamingos next to skunks, next to, all kinds of animals that will never be found in the same, probably one forest. There's people who are wearing different kinds of clothes with different colored skin and different shape of hair and all these things. So the idea was to put an image for every child wherever they are in the world, wherever they come from. Something in there will speak to them. And it adds to the playfulness of it, it adds to the beauty of it, and it gives children, part of the whole message of the book too is that we can just slow down, we can just be for some time. And so I think the intricacy, the beauty and detail of her drawings also invite us into that, letting us just be for a little while with those images. We have children who are much too young to maybe understand all the words, just a few years old, but they like to just look at it, and that invites them into that occasion as well. So, uh, yes, this was definitely part of the thinking, and she really just brought it to a whole new level with her craftsmanship, I would say.
Compliments
Yes.
to you for selecting Kalyani, and compliments to her for doing such a fantastic job that the children have, really taken to the very abstract concept that Ayurveda and Vedanta is, to they've rooted it to the physical dimension, these illustrations. So tell me a little more about how you put your thought from the abstractness of the Vedant into the physical dimension.
Yes. Yes. Well, I think because in my learning of Vedant, of learning Ayurveda, because I had such a long time, and because I was studying and continue even now to study so closely nature, I have a lot of time to sit with this knowledge, and a lot of time to look around into my world, into my relationships. I am a mother, I am a friend, I am a person who belongs to nature. You know, when I look out into the world, I'm constantly finding these little analogies or illustrations out in the world that seem to bring home these same themes. So I can be doing anything from giving my children a bath to baking a cake to tending my garden. And I'm constantly, because this lens of wisdom is there, I'm constantly viewing through that lens. So when you are living more and more this kind of wisdom, everything becomes a manifestation of that wisdom. And when it comes time to make stories, these that can come unlimited, because everything is connected in that way. And
And I
specifically
the
in these illustrations, yes,
sorry,
please.
carry on.
Only to say that the favorite one, I think, kind of an analogy inside of this book that captures that Vedanta is that sparkling, you know, the beginning, that river, there's many droplets of sun. It's that same one sun that is making many droplets. See, right? That we have this connected essence. It's mirrored in many. And then at the end, again, that same river begins to see that same shining reflection in all the animals, the plants, the feathers, the stones. So that's what we are moving to, the joy in our own individualness, but our deep connection with everyone and everything around. So that is one way into a example.
Yes, Ishani, also at the end of the book, you have, fitted in some very beautifully thought out activities. And, I think you've done a wonderful job because children's book has to appeal to the children. Like when you went off air for a few seconds and I was speaking, I said that the children's books have to appeal to the hearts and the minds of the children, and at the same time they also have to appeal to the adults who choose those books for the children. So you've done a very great job of putting this together and making the choice very easy, because you've added some activities at the back. Could you tell us something more about those activities?
Yes, you know, I find that there are so many for what the book has for children, the beautiful illustrations, historical stories, and all the juicy and wonderful storytelling speaks to their heart and is something they already know. And what I find with parents is they're looking ways to bring mindful children, to bring in a reverence for nature for their children. They're wanting to give children an upbringing that is wholesome and connected. And yet, how to do that is sometimes not easy for parents to know. How can I do that? What does that really look like when I? And so the games and the activities at the end of the book are meant to be these kind of tangible goals, you know. If you're wanting to, one of them is about seeing the sunrise with your child each day. We know this from yoga. Yoga tells us to greet the sun, namaskar. Ayurveda tells us to wake up at Brahma Muhurta and greet the sun for all of its various health benefits, physical, mental, all these things. Spiritually, we know we should look at the sun and bring in its blessings. So, as a family, we can do this small activity, which brings us closer in relationship, which has all of those benefits as well. And then we can play. It gives a lot of fun ideas of how we can be playful about our health. Because a lot of times parents get stuck in the way of like, don't eat candy, or that's enough chips, or dinner's coming soon, stop snacking. Um, a lot of no's, and they don't want to have that kind of attitude. They don't want to have that kind of relationship with the child. So these activities are meant to show that health, balance, well-being can be something that is part of just the way as parent and child. It can be fun, it can be playful, it can be enjoyable, something that sparks our own innate wisdom about wanting to do what's healthy for us, and feeling empowered to do what's healthy for us, and listening intelligence to do what's healthy for us. So I hope that these activities kind of ideas that they can do
And
together.
Ishani, we had invited 5 schools to, go through your books and read your books, and they've come out with some tiny bits of how they enhance their reading experience with a few activities. So we'd like to share the video with you.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Would come to the river every morning to feel the gentle glow of the rising sun and sing about the strength and blessings of the sun. Baba scooped up water in his palms and admired the sun reflection. As he poured the water back into the river, he delighted at the thousands of sparkling droplets that slid off his fingertips. Every day, children came to the river to splash and play. Women brought clothes to wash while they talked and sang. Seasons somersaulted one into another. Fresh, juicy spring became hot summer. Wet monsoon made way for a freezing winter, only to be melted by the glorious warmth of spring. Then came a winter that was longer and darker than any other before. Plants dried up, fish and turtles moved away, and the washerwoman found another places to talk and sing and do their work. Even though it could hardly imagine that its own morning song was still hidden somewhere deep in its own heart, the river decided, I have to find a way to do my river work again. Each moment was a noisy, exciting adventure, free from of all that heaviness. That river was eager to help its friend. Mothers shook their fingers and warned their children, don't you go down to that river. It will drag you away downstream.
An old man lovingly called Baba would come to the river every morning to feel the gentle glow of the rising sun and sing about the strength and blessing of the sun. The river joined in singing from deep within its heart, its own song blending together with Baba's joyful and steady voice. Thank you.
हम करेंगे अपनी लाइब्रेरी वाली एक्टिविटी। अब बुक्स लेने चलेंगी लाइब्रेरी में। चलो बुक लेने चले। चलो फिर आ जाओ आ जाओ आ जाओ आ जाओ लेकर आ जाओ। किधर बुक ले लो? एक मिनट।
नदियों में पानी होता है।
और शीता दोनों को ये मिलकर बुक देखनी है, ठीक है? आपने अपनी दोस्त को बुक दिखानी है। थोड़ा इधर कर दो बुक, ऐसे करके चलो शुरू कर। क्या क्या हमारे पास ना, इस पे ये बता दो, मिष्टी को बता दो क्या है ये पीछे। आप बताओ नाम बताओ। बंदर। बात करो, नाम दिखाओ दिखाओ दिखा दो।
Catchy money, spaghetti, catchy money to be, catchy money, stick, catchy. Oh, yay.
इश्ती।
Stick,
हाँ।
na, yay. नहीं दीदी मनी क्या है
कैसे सिखाओ दीदी को। हाँ हाँ कैसे लगा आपको? ऐसे ऐसे ये जंप कर रहा।
Then came a winter that was longer and darker than any other before. Clouds covered the sky and never left for what seemed like forever. Thank you.
Dear Ishani Naidu, I would like to ask you a question that which book did you like when you were young and why? Thank you.
Wow. It is very heartwarming to see so many beautiful children just being with books of all kinds, and especially this book. So thank you for sharing it with them.
Yeah, could you answer that young boy?
Yes. Wow. Oh, I have loved books for so long. I recently got reawakened to a book of poetry that my dad used to read to us in very funny voices by Shel Silverstein, and it had a lot of very playful poems in it. That was one that we always loved. I also loved a lot of Dr. Seuss books as a kid. There were, again, very playful and fun and lyrical. And as I got older, I think I loved a book called Number the Stars. I loved that one. Then there was a series called Anne of Green Gables. Those were books that were very nice. I grew up in the US, so I'm finding all the books that come here in the Indian schools are much different than I encountered as a child. So I'm happy to be getting all the books on the other side of the world now.
Shani, in your own words, life often moves in ways we least imagine them when we follow our deepest inner calling. So, how fulfilling has been this calling?
You know, I think we know we're doing our calling when as much energy as I put in, as much effort as we put in, we end up feeling fresh. We feel more light, we feel more fresh, we feel more inspired the more deeply we get into something. And so with this book, with this whole teaching and learning and practicing Ayurveda, Vedanta, it feels like the more and more of it I carry, the more and more of it I give, the more full I feel, the lighter I feel, the more energy I feel. So that was always telling me I'm on the right track. I'm doing the right thing.
Thank you.
So
Thank
deeply
you, Shani.
fulfilling.
Your desire for this book is to speak to the hearts of children and to the children within the hearts of adults. That is a beautiful, beautiful thought. And I thank you for sharing this gift with the world. Thank you, Ishani, for joining us for this wonderful session. And wish you all the best. And may you write many more books so that it gives joy to our children. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jyoti, and thank you for this beautiful gathering of all kinds of authors. I'm just so pleased that these kind of connections and celebrations of written words are happening. So thank you so much for including this here.
Thank you.